Hello everyone, welcome back to another video. In today's lesson, I'll show you how to prepare the interest expense account. You'll see the question on the left hand side of your screen, and on the whiteboard on the right hand side, you will see all the workings which I'll go through step by step. What I need you to do now is focus and follow through the entire content for an excellent understanding. So with that being said, let's begin. On 1 January 2016, Martin borrowed $80,000 loan from Bankers Bank. The loan is repayable in equal installments over 5 years, and the interest rate on the outstanding loan amount is 3% per annum. Both the repayment of the loan and payment of loan interest are to be made on every 1 January, which is basically every 12 months. So the loan was taken on 1 January 2016, which means the first loan repayment and interest payment will be at the end of 12 months from 1 January 2016, which is on 1 January 2017. Okay? All right. So the requirement of the first question is to calculate the interest expense for the year ended 30 April 2016. All right. So let's look into the workings on the right hand side, and let's understand some things first. We are working with a business where the financial year starts in 1 May, typically, and ends on 30 April of the following year. Okay? Which means if we are to calculate interest expense for the year ended 30 April 2016, the financial year would have started on 1 May 2015 and ended on 30 April 2016. So within this time frame, from 1 May 2015 until end of 30 April 2016, we need to see what's going on. We understand, based on what the question has stated, the loan was taken on 1 January 2016, right? So prior to 1 January 2016, we had no loan, okay? Which means the interest expense can only be calculated in this financial year ending 30 April 2016 from 1 Jan 2016, the day the loan was taken, until the end of the financial year, which is on 30 April 2016. Okay, so we want to find the interest expense from 1 Jan 2016 until end of 30 April 2016, which are the 4 months, January, February, March, and April. So how do we calculate that? We multiply the given percentage of 3 with the loan amount of 80,000, and then we multiply again with 4 over 12, which basically adjusts the 3% annual rate into a 4-month value. Okay, because from Jan until end of April, we have got 4 months in total. So altogether, the 4 over 12 means that we are doing this calculation for 4 months and converting the 3% into a 4-month value. Okay, so that gives us an interest expense of $800 for the 4 months since 1 Jan 2016 until end of 30 April 2016. Okay, now we know that the loan and the interest payment is going to be at 1 Jan 2017, which means at 30 April 2017, this $800 of interest expense, which we have calculated for the 4 months of Jan, February, March, and April, is an unpaid interest expense, which is also known as interest expense payable or accrued interest expense, which is a current liability. And this is a current liability or an unpaid interest expense or accrued interest expense at 30 April 2016. Okay? All right. So the answer to the first question, which is to calculate the interest expense for the year ended 30 April 2016, is $800. All right? Okay. So let's see the second requirement of the question, which is to prepare the interest expense account for the year ended 30 April 2017. Okay. So we now have to prepare the interest expense account for the next financial year ending 30 April 2017, which means we first want to calculate the interest expense for multiple time frames, because we know that in this new financial year, we would have made a loan payment and also an interest payment. So let's see what's going on. We know that we will make the loan payment on 1 Jan 2017. So that is why, to begin with, we first need to calculate the interest expense from 1 May 2016, which is the beginning of this new financial year, until the end of 31 December 2016. so which are the first 8 months, all right? And the reason we want to stop at 31 December 2016 is because on 1 Jan 2017, as we understand, we are going to make a loan repayment, which is going to change our calculations, and we will have to do a new step. So that is why we stop at 31 December 2016. So how do we find it? So we use the given annual rate of 3%, multiply it with the loan amount of 80,000, and then multiply it further with 8 over 12, which basically converts the 3% annual rate into an 8-month rate. And what are we doing in this case? The 8-month here refers to the month of May, June, July, August, September, October, November, and December. All right, so that altogether gives us an interest expense incurred of $1,600, which is basically for the first 8 months of 1 May 2016 until end of 31 December 2016. All right, now the total interest that we would have paid on 1 Jan 2017, the day we are supposed to make our repayment for loan and interest, right? If you recall, based on the second paragraph of the question. So how much are we going to pay in total interest in 1 Jan 2017? We would pay $800, which was unpaid at the end of the previous year at 30 April 2016, if you recall from Part A, plus an additional $1,600, which is for the first 8 months in this new financial year. And those 8 months we are talking about are the months of May, June, July, August, September, October, November, and December. All right. And that altogether gives us the total interest that we'll be paying on 1 Jan 2017 of $2,400. Okay. Now, how much are we going to repay in loan? We know the original loan amount was $80,000, which is to be repaid equally, as the question explicitly mentions, which you can see on the left-hand side of your screen in the second paragraph, equally over 5 years, which means if the $80,000 is the total loan and we are to repay it over 5 years, then we can find out the loan repayment every year, which is simply $80,000 divided by 5, and that is $16,000, which we will repay every year. Okay, so this $16,000 will be repaid on 1 Jan 2017 for the loan. Okay, so once this is repaid, the remaining balance of the loan would be $80,000 minus $16,000, which is $64,000. So now we have to calculate the interest expense for the remaining months in this new financial year ending 30 April 2017 using this loan balance of $64,000. Okay, so interest expense incurred from 1 Jan 2017 until end of 30 April 2017. So which are the 4 months of Jan, February, March, and April 2017. And how do we calculate it? We use the annual rate of 3%, multiplied with the loan balance left at 1 January after the repayment, which is $64,000, and then multiply it further with 4 over 12, because we are calculating the interest for 4 months in this case. And that gives us an interest expense of $640. Okay? Now, this is unpaid at 30 April 2017, as we already understand that the next repayment is going to be on 1 Jan 2018. Therefore, the $640 is going to be an accrued interest expense, which is a current liability or an interest expense payable at the end of the financial year of 30 April 2017. All right. Now that all the workings are taken care of, let's look into the ledger account for interest expense. So here I have the outline prepared for the interest expense ledger account, which is the usual 5-column format, and those 5 columns are divided into date, details, debit, credit, and balance. Okay. To begin with, we are going to start the financial year because we are preparing this interest expense for the year ended 30 April 2016, which the question clearly mentions. For the year ended 30 April 2017, which the question clearly mentions. And that means it's going to start at 1 May 2016 and end on 30 April 2017. So everything that happened in between 1 May 2016 and 30 April 2017 is basically our concern for preparing this interest expense ledger account. So to begin the financial year on 1 May 2016, I am starting with the liability balance that we had from 30 April 2016. If you recall, I'll scroll back up slowly to Part A, our calculation, where you know that we had calculated an interest expense of $800 for the month of January, February, March, and April 2016 since the loan was taken. Okay, and that $800 was unpaid at the end of the year because we know the first repayment would have been made on 1 Jan 2017, right? So to begin our interest expense account on 1 May 2016, we are starting with a credit balance of $800. And the reason this is a credit balance is because we have a current liability. Always remember, all liabilities by default should have an opening balance on the credit side, which also means that when liability increase, we always credit them. So that's why in the details, so I've written interest expense payable of $800 reported on the credit side, which gives us a net balance of 800 credit. Okay. Now, what's the next thing that happened in this financial year? We know we have made the repayment on 1 Jan. So that's why I'm starting with 2017, 1 Jan, and I've made the repayment using our funds available in the cash at bank account. And the total repayment I made was $2,400. How did we get $2,400 again? It was the $800 that we had at 30 April 2016, which was the owing balance, plus an additional $1,600, which we have calculated for the months of 1 May 2016 until end of 31 December 2016, right? So altogether it was $2,400. So that $2,400 is what we're recording here on the debit side of the interest expense account. But logically, how does it make sense? If I give you the narration, okay, so we paid $2,400 of interest expense. How would you journalize that? You would credit the cash at bank because when you are making the payment, your funds available in the bank account are going down. Cash at bank in itself is an asset account. So when asset goes down, we credit it. So you would be crediting the cash at bank account. But what you would be debiting, you would be debiting the interest expense because expenses, when they increase or by default, they're always debited. So here, since the interest expense was debited, within the ledger account, we have to record the $2,400 on the debit side with the narration in the details being the cash at bank, which basically refers to the fact that we have used the funds available in the cash at bank account to make this transaction. Okay, so previously, we had 800 credit as the net balance. Now we have more debits of $2,400. So we want to find the difference between 2,400 and 800, which is 1,600. And because we have more debits than credits, the final balance will have more debits. Okay. All right. Then on 30 April 2017, we know we had unpaid interest expense as well for the 4 months of January, February, March, and April, which we have derived to be $640. And this is definitely a current liability, as we understand, because this is a present obligation for the business. Always remember, all liabilities by default should always have an opening balance on the credit side, and therefore they must have a closing balance on the debit side. So because this is happening at the end of the financial year, this is referring to a closing liability balance. And that is why we have recorded this on the debit side with our details being interest expense payable at 30 April 2017. Okay. So we had previously $1,600 in debit. Now we have more debits coming in of $640. So we just add these two together and we get 2,240 debits. All right. Now, what's left? Always remember, expenses and revenue accounts must be reset to zero balances at the end of the financial year. And this is mainly following the accrual basis accounting concept, or you could also say the matching accounting theory, which requires us to calculate profit accurately by subtracting the differences between revenues earned and the expenses incurred in a given financial period. This is because we want to start the next financial period with zero balances for both expenses and revenues, so to avoid double counting of these numbers and not to mistaken our profit calculation. Okay. Therefore, we must perform a closing entry every time we are preparing an expense or an income or revenue account. So the closing entry is basically where you transfer the amount to the income summary. All right. So I'll just change this here. So we want to transfer this $2,240 debit to our income summary account, which is basically transferring this amount to the income statement or the profit and loss statement account. So when you prepare the income statement or the statement of financial performance, whatever you want to call it, you will report the total amount for interest expense, which is going to be $2,240. Okay, so interest expense was $2,240 was for this financial year starting 1 May 2016 and ending 30 April 2017. All right, so what's happening here? We have to transfer this by performing a closing entry. And how do we perform the closing entry? I'll just show it to you in the journal entry format. So if you want to close this, what are we going to do? we would credit the interest expense, because when I say you have to reset the expense accounts back to zero, which means you have to reduce the expense account. So if you have to reduce the expense accounts, we have to credit it, because by default, when expenses increase, we debit them. So if the expense account is being reduced by crediting here, and the closing entry debit would therefore always be income summary. Okay? So basically, this amount of $2,240, which we're reporting here on the credit side, will have a detail of income summary. So that is what we are going to write here. I wrote profit and loss because we used to write that before based on the old curriculum or the old syllabus, but now we write this income summary because of the new syllabus, okay? And as you can see, the final amount is always going to be zero. That's how you know you have accurately prepared your expense account. It cannot have any balance lying around, okay? All right. Yep. So that's all for today's lesson. If you found value in this content, make sure to drop a like and subscribe to this channel. And if you need help with any of the topics, you can just post them down in the comments. Also, there's a link in the description, which is a free Zoom call that you can book, and you can bring your parents. You must bring your parents, actually, where we can discuss monthly coaching or tutoring requirements to help you prepare for your exams at the end of the year so you can score an A. So with that being said, I'll conclude today's video, and I'll see you in the next lesson.